Commander Jake Morrison sat in his chair on the bridge of Terran Defense Station. Omega 7, the station moved slowly around Earth, watching space for any threats. Jake had been doing this job for 5 years. Nothing exciting ever happened. He drank his coffee and looked at the screens showing empty space. "Sir, I'm getting something strange," said Lieutenant Bobby Turner from his position at the communications desk. His voice sounded worried. "It's not from any Earth ship or station." Jake put down his coffee cup and walked over to Bobby's station. "What kind of signal?" "It's weak, sir. Coming from really far away. The computer says it's not human." Bobby's hands moved over his controls, trying to make the signal clearer. "Wait, I think it's some kind of message." Dr. Lisa Hamilton rushed into the bridge. She was the station's expert on languages and codes. Her red hair was messy because she had been sleeping when the alarm woke her up. "Did someone say we got a message from space?" "Right here, Doc," Bobby said, pointing at his screen. "The computer thinks it might be words, but not in any language we know." Lisa sat down at the empty station next to Bobby and started working. Her fingers moved fast over the keyboard. Numbers and symbols filled her screen. "This is incredible," she said softly. "This isn't human. This is really from aliens." Jake felt his heart beat faster. In all his years in space, he had never seen proof that aliens existed. Earth had been alone in the galaxy as far as anyone knew. "Can you understand what they're saying?" "Give me time," Lisa said, not looking away from her screen. "The computer is learning their language. It's very different from anything on Earth, but there are patterns." Hours passed. More people came to the bridge. News of the alien message spread through the station. Everyone wanted to know what the aliens were saying. Jake called Admiral Peter Brooks on Earth and told him what was happening. "Keep working on that message," Admiral Brooks said over the video screen. "I'm coming up to the station with my staff. Don't tell anyone else about this yet." Lisa worked without stopping. She drank cup after cup of coffee and ate sandwiches that other crew members brought her. Slowly, words started to make sense. "I've got something," she said finally. Her voice was tired but excited. "What do they say?" Jake asked. "Everyone on." The bridge moved closer to hear. Lisa read from her screen. "They call themselves the Zephyrian Republic. They're asking for help. Something called the Vorthan Empire is attacking their world. They say their planet will be destroyed in 3 days." The bridge became very quiet. Jake looked at the message on Lisa's screen. Even though he couldn't read the alien words, he could feel the fear in them. "There's more," Lisa continued. "They say they've heard stories about humans. They call us children of the burning world and Deathworlders. They think we might be strong enough to help them fight." "Deathworlders?" asked Captain Rachel Stone, who had just arrived on the bridge. She was tall and strong, with short black hair. "What does that mean?" "I think it means they believe Earth is a very dangerous planet," Lisa explained. "They think living here made humans tough and good at fighting." Jake thought about this. Earth did have wars, storms, earthquakes, and many dangerous animals. Maybe compared to other planets, Earth really was a tough place to live. Admiral Brooks arrived 6 hours later with his team. They met in the station's main conference room. The room was full of the most important military officers in the Earth Defense Force. Jake had never seen so many high-ranking people in one place. "Show them the message," Admiral Brooks said to Lisa. Lisa put the alien message on the big screen. She had translated more of it. The full message was longer and more desperate than before. The Zephyrians told the story of the Vorthan Empire, a group of aliens who conquered planet after planet. The Vorthans had huge ships with powerful weapons. They destroyed anyone who tried to fight them. The Zephyrians say the Vorthans have already destroyed 12 other civilizations, Lisa read. "They're not soldiers. They're peaceful traders and farmers. They have no chance against the Vorthan military." Colonel Marcus Webb, an older man with gray hair, spoke up. "This could be a trap. We don't know these aliens. They could be lying to get us to show ourselves." "Why would they do that?" asked Captain Stone. "If they wanted to hurt us, they could just attack Earth. We wouldn't know. They were coming Rachel's right, said Admiral Brooks. If hostile aliens wanted to find us, they probably could. This message seems real. Dr. Lisa Hamilton showed them more information from the message. The Zephyrians had included pictures of their world and their people. They looked like tall, thin humans with blue skin and large eyes. Their cities were beautiful, with buildings that looked like they were grown instead of built. The message also showed pictures of the Vorthan ships. They were huge. Dark metal ships shaped like weapons. The smallest Vorthan ship was bigger than Earth's largest battleship. The Zephyrians estimated that each Vorthan ship could destroy a city with one shot. Look at our fleet compared to theirs, Colonel Webb said, pointing at the screen. We have 50 ships. They have hundreds. Our weapons are toys compared to theirs. But they don't know how humans fight, Captain Stone said. Every war in human history taught us something new. We adapt. We find ways to win even when the enemy is stronger. Jake listened to the argument. Part of him agreed with Colonel Webb. Going to fight aliens with better technology seemed like suicide. But another part of him thought about the Zephyrian, families who would die if no one helped them. How long would it take us to reach their system? Admiral Brooks asked. With our fastest ships, about 18 hours, answered Captain Tony Garcia, who commanded the carrier Phoenix. But we'd have to leave right away. Admiral Brooks looked around the room. We have a choice to make. We can stay hidden and safe, or we can help people who need our help. If we go, we'll be telling the galaxy that humans exist. There will be no going back. The room was quiet for a long time. Jake could hear the station's engines humming in the walls. Finally, Admiral Brooks spoke again. I've made my decision. We're going to help them. Captain Stone, prepare your ship. Captain Garcia, get your fighters ready. We leave in 12 hours. As everyone left the meeting, Jake felt scared and excited at the same time. Humans were about to meet aliens for the first time. They were going to war with an enemy they had never seen. But they were also going to try to save innocent people from being killed. He looked out the window at Earth spinning below them. Soon, human ships would leave this solar system for the first time. They would carry Earth's message to the stars. Humans protected those who could not protect themselves. The next 12 hours passed like a storm. Every human ship in the solar system received urgent orders to prepare for combat. Captain Rachel Stone stood on the bridge of her battlecruiser New York and watched her crew work. They moved with purpose, checking weapons and engines. Everyone knew this mission would change everything. Weapon systems are ready, Captain, reported Lieutenant Danny Miller from the tactical station. All missile tubes loaded. Railguns charged and ready to fire, Rachel nodded. The New York was Earth's most powerful warship, but compared to the Vorthan ships in the alien pictures, it looked like a toy. What about our armor? Chief Patterson reinforced the hull plating last night, Danny answered. He also upgraded our shield generators. Says it should help against energy weapons. Chief Engineer Billy Patterson climbed onto the bridge from the engine room. His clothes were dirty with oil, and his hands were black from working on machines. Captain, I've done everything I can with the time we had. The engines will give us 15% more speed. The weapons hit harder. But honestly, if those alien ships are as strong as they look, we're going to need luck more than upgrades. Rachel respected Billy's honesty. He never lied about what his machines could do. How long can we fight at full power? Maybe 4 hours. Before things start breaking down, Billy said. These upgrades push everything past safe limits. But I figure if we're still fighting after 4 hours, we're either winning or we're already dead. On the other side of the fleet, Captain Tony Garcia walked through the fighter bays of his carrier Phoenix. The huge ship carried 60 small fighter craft and their pilots. The pilots were young men and women, the best Earth had trained. They looked nervous but determined. Lieutenant Commander Steve Johnson gathered his squadron leaders around a table showing pictures of Vorthan fighters. Their ships are bigger and faster than ours, he told them. But look at how they fly. They stay in straight lines. They don't change direction much. They fight like machines, not like humans. So how do we beat them? Asked Lieutenant Kim Parker, leader of Blue Squadron. Steve smiled. We do what humans do best. We cheat, we break their rules. We make them confused and scared. He pointed to different parts of the Vorthan fighter pictures. These ships are built for fighting in open space. But what if we fight them near asteroids? What if we use the planet's gravity to help us turn faster? What if we attack from directions they don't expect? The pilots began to understand. Human fighters were smaller and weaker, but they could do things the rigid Vorthan pilots would never think of, Commander. Amy Chen prepared her stealth destroyer Nighthawk for a different kind of mission. Her ship was designed to hide from enemy sensors and strike without warning. She studied the technical data about Vorthan ships that the Zephyrians had provided. Their sensors are very powerful, she told her crew, but they're looking for big, obvious threats. Our stealth system should keep us hidden if we're careful. Intelligence Officer Nicole Parker worked at her station, analyzing every piece of information about Vorthan military tactics. Commander, I think I've found something important. Look at these battle recordings from other worlds the Vorthans conquered. Amy looked at Nicole's screen. It showed Vorthan fleets attacking different planets. What am I looking for? They always do the same thing, Nicole explained. Big ships in front, smaller ships behind. They attack the strongest enemy forces first. They never change their plan, even when it's not working well. Amy understood. They're not used to enemies who think differently than they do. Back on Terran. Defense Station Omega 7, Dr. Lisa Hamilton worked with the Zephyrian survivors who had escaped their dying world. She had learned enough of their language to have simple conversations. High Counselor Zaranel, the leader of the refugees, sat across from her in the station's meeting room. Your people are really coming to help us? Zaranel asked. Her voice was soft and musical, but Lisa could hear the sadness in it. Yes, Lisa answered in the alien language. Our ships are leaving soon. We have heard stories about humans, Zaranel said. Some traders speak of the Deathworld warriors. They say humans are the only species that fights wars for fun. Lisa laughed. We don't fight wars for fun. We fight wars to protect people we care about. That is why we called you, Zaranel said. In our part of the galaxy, most species surrender when the Vorthans come. They think it is better to live as slaves than to die as free people. But the stories say humans would rather die fighting than live on their knees. The stories are right. Lisa said. Zara-Nel gave Lisa a small device. This contains all our knowledge about Vorthan ships and weapons. It also has the location of their main fleet and their Emperor's flagship. If you can defeat them, many worlds will be free. The human fleet gathered near Mars for final preparations. Admiral Brooks gave the order, and all ships activated their experimental faster-than-light drives. The journey to the Zephy system would take 18 hours. During that time, the crews would rest, check their equipment one more time, and prepare for the biggest battle in human history. On the New York, Captain Stone called her senior officers together. We're about to fight an enemy we've never seen before. They have better technology and more ships, but they don't know humans. They don't know that we've spent our entire history learning how to fight impossible battles and win. What if we lose? Asked Lieutenant Miller. Then we make sure the Zephyrians know we tried, Stone answered. And we make sure the Vorthans remember that humans don't give up easily. Colonel Kate Sullivan led her Marines in final combat training. Her soldiers would board enemy ships if the opportunity came. They practiced fighting in alien environments and using captured weapons. Remember, she told them, fear is a weapon. If we can make them afraid, we've already won half the battle. As the human fleet traveled through hyperspace toward the Zephy's system, crews across all ships made final preparations. Engineers checked every system. Pilots practiced attack runs in simulators. Marines sharpened their weapons. Medical teams prepared for casualties. Dr. Hamilton sent one final message to the Zephyrian survivors on Earth. We're coming, she said. In their language. Hold on, the reply came back quickly. We believe in the Deathworld warriors. Show the galaxy what humans can do. In 18 hours, humanity would announce itself to the universe. They would either save an entire civilization or die trying. Either way, the galaxy would learn that Earth's children did not abandon those who needed help. The ships flew on through the darkness between stars, carrying Earth's hopes and humanity's determination to their first meeting with alien enemies. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyr system. What they saw made everyone sick with horror. 3 massive Vorthan dreadnoughts hung in space above the blue and green planet like metal vultures. Each ship was as long as a city and covered in weapon ports that glowed with deadly energy. Captain Rachel Stone stood on the bridge of the New York and watched the main screen. "My God," she whispered. Bright flashes erupted across the planet's surface where Vorthan weapons struck cities and forests. Smaller Vorthan ships chased fleeing civilian vessels, destroying them with casual cruelty. "Captain, I'm reading what's left of the Zephyrian Defense Fleet," reported Lieutenant Danny Miller. His voice was tight with anger. "Looks like maybe 12 ships still fighting. They're heavily damaged. The Zephyrian ships were beautiful even in death. They looked like they had been grown rather than built, with smooth curves and organic shapes. But they were no match for Vorthan firepower." As the humans watched, another Zephyrian vessel exploded under the guns of a Vorthan cruiser. "This is slaughter," said Chief Patterson from his engineering station. "Those poor people never had a chance." Captain Stone made a decision that would echo through history, open a channel to both fleets. "It's time to announce ourselves." The communication went out on all frequencies. "This is Captain Rachel Stone of the Terran Space Navy. Vorthan vessels, you will cease your attack on civilian targets immediately and withdraw from this system." Silence filled space for several seconds. Then responses came flooding back. The Zephyrian survivors could hardly believe what they were hearing. The Vorthans were confused and angry. War leader Thexmore, commander of the Vorthan fleet, appeared on the main screen. He was a large alien with gray skin and 4 arms. His face showed cruel intelligence and complete confidence. "I am War Leader Thexmore of the Vorthan Empire. You will identify yourselves and explain your presence in conquered territory." "I am Captain Stone of the human species," Rachel replied calmly. "This system is under our protection. Leave now or face the consequences." Thexmore laughed, a harsh sound that hurt human ears. "Humans? I have never heard of your species." "You have 3 small ships against my mighty fleet. Surrender now and I may allow some of you to live as slaves." "Counteroffer," Stone said with a cold smile. "You leave now, and we won't have to embarrass you in front of your crews." The Vorthan commander's face turned darker with rage. "Destroy these insects!" he roared. Commander Amy Chun had been waiting for this moment. Her stealth destroyer Nighthawk was invisible to Vorthan sensors, hiding in the shadow of a large asteroid. "Time to see what we're really fighting," she told her crew. The Nighthawk moved closer to the Vorthan fleet, staying hidden. Intelligence Officer Nicole Parker worked frantically at her sensors, gathering data on alien technology. "Commander, their shields are incredibly strong, but they're designed to stop energy weapons. I don't think they're prepared for our kinetic projectiles." "What about their weapons?" Amy asked. "Powerful plasma cannons and energy beams," Nicole reported, "but they fire in straight lines. No tracking capability once the shot is fired." Amy smiled. "So they can't hit what they can't predict." Back on the main battlefield, the first exchange of fire began. The largest Vorthan dreadnought turned its massive guns toward the New York. Beams of pure energy, bright as small suns, lanced across space. Captain Stone had ordered evasive maneuvers the moment the alien opened fire. "Hard to port," she commanded. "Pattern Delta 7. The New York twisted and spun in ways that made the Vorthan gunners confused. Human ships were designed to be flexible, able to change direction quickly. The massive energy beams passed harmlessly through empty space where the ship had been moments before. "Their turn," Stone said grimly. "Fire everything." The New Yorks. Railguns spoke with thunder. Solid metal projectiles, accelerated to incredible speeds, slammed into the Vorthan ship's shields. The aliens had never faced kinetic weapons before. Their energy shields, designed to disperse heat and radiation, couldn't stop simple chunks of metal moving at near light speed. The first projectiles punched through the shield and gouged deep holes in the dreadnought's armor. Dexmore's confident expression changed to shocked disbelief. Captain Tony Garcia launched his fighters from the Phoenix. Lieutenant Commander Steve Johnson led the attack, diving his squadron toward the Vorthan ships in a pattern that looked like controlled chaos. "Blue Squadron, take the left flank," Steve ordered over the radio. "Red Squadron, follow me. We're going in low and fast." The human fighters screamed past Vorthan ships at incredible speed, firing missiles and cannon bursts. They used the planet's gravity to slingshot around and attack from unexpected angles. Vorthan fighter pilots tried to follow, but couldn't match human creativity and flying skills. "They're flying like madmen." One Vorthan pilot screamed over his radio, "No formation, no order. How do we fight chaos?" Lieutenant Kim Parker led her Blue Squadron through an asteroid field, using the rocks as cover. When Vorthan fighters followed, she led them into a trap. The rigid alien pilots couldn't navigate the complex maze of spinning rocks. 3 enemy fighters smashed into asteroids while trying to maintain their perfect formation. High Counselor Zaranel watched the battle from her damaged flagship. She could barely believe what she was seeing. "They fight like no species we have ever known," she told her crew. "Each ship acts independently, yet they work together perfectly." Dr. Lisa Hamilton, monitoring communications from the Terran fleet, translated Zaranel's words for Admiral Brooks back on Earth. "The Zephyrians are amazed by our tactics, sir. They say we fight like organized chaos." Commander Chun moved the Nighthawk closer to the Vorthan flagship. "Nicole, can you identify their command center?" "There," Nicole pointed to her screen. "That tower on top of the main hull. Heavy armor, but if we can get close enough... Prepare torpedo tubes," Amy ordered. "We're going to cut off the head of this snake." The Nighthawk ghosted through the battle, invisible to Vorthan sensors. The aliens were too busy trying to hit dancing human fighters in the spinning, dodging larger ships to notice one small stealth vessel. War leader Dexmore stood in his command center, watching his perfect battle plan fall apart. His ships were taking damage from weapons they couldn't understand. His fighters were being outflown by pilots who seemed to ignore every rule of space combat. "How do we fight an enemy that has no pattern?" he demanded of his tactical officer. "Sir, they don't fight like a proper military force," the officer replied, confusion clear in his voice. "They improvise. They adapt. They seem to enjoy the chaos of battle." "Impossible," Dexmore snarled. "No civilized species fights this way." At that moment, the Nighthawk struck. 6 torpedoes slammed into the command tower, overloading shields that had never been tested against concentrated kinetic impacts. The explosion shook the massive dreadnought and destroyed most of the communication equipment. Suddenly, the Vorthan fleet couldn't coordinate their attacks. Individual ships fought alone without orders or support. The humans pressed their advantage, working together like dancers who had practiced the same routine for years. Captain Stone saw the moment when Vorthan confidence finally broke. "All ships, concentrate fire on the damaged dreadnought. Let's show them what happens when they attack innocent people." The combined firepower of the human fleet hammered the crippled Vorthan flagship. Explosions bloomed across its hull as railgun projectiles found weak points in the damaged armor. The battle reached its most desperate moment when war leader Dexmore realized his fleet was losing to these unknown humans. His damaged flagship still had enough firepower to destroy the planet below. In his rage and pride, he decided that if he couldn't conquer Zephy's Prime, he would destroy it completely. "Charge the planet killer weapon," Dexmore ordered his surviving crew. "If these humans want to save this world so badly, they can watch it burn." Captain Rachel Stone saw the energy readings spike on her sensors. The massive Vorthan dreadnought was preparing to fire a weapon that could crack a planet in half. "We have maybe 3 minutes before that thing fires," she told her crew. Lieutenant Danny Miller looked at the tactical display with growing horror. "Captain, even if we hit them with everything we have, we can't penetrate their main armor in time. That weapon is too well protected." Captain Tony Garcia's voice came over the communication system from the Phoenix. Rachel, I have an idea, but you're not going to like it? Tell me, Stone replied, though she already suspected what Garcia was thinking. I can ram the Phoenix into their main weapon system. My crew can evacuate in the escape pods. The impact should disable their planet killer and maybe take out their main engines too. The bridge of the New York became silent. Everyone knew that ramming an enemy ship was basically suicide, even with escape pods. But they also knew that millions of Zephyrian civilians would die if that weapon fired. Tony, there has to be another way, Stone said, but her voice showed she already knew there wasn't. There isn't time, Garcia replied calmly. Besides, this is what we came here to do, save innocent people. My crew understands. Captain Garcia turned to his crew on the Phoenix. They were young men and women who had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might not come home. All hands, this is the captain. We're going to ram the enemy flagship to stop them from destroying the planet. Everyone to the escape pods. That's an order. Chief Petty Officer Ryan Walsh spoke for the entire crew. Sir, with respect, we'd rather stay and see this through. If we're going down fighting. Garcia felt pride swell in his chest. Very well. All hands, prepare for ramming speed. Let's show these aliens what humans do when innocent lives are at stake. The Phoenix turned toward the massive Vorthan dreadnought and began accelerating. The carrier ship wasn't designed for ramming attacks, but human engineers had built it strong. Garcia pushed the engines past their safety limits, gaining speed with every second. War leader Thexmore saw the human ship approaching and laughed. One small ship against my dreadnought? These humans are truly insane. Lieutenant Commander Steve Johnson was still flying his fighter squadron around the battlefield when he heard Garcia's plan. All fighters, form up on me, he ordered. We're going to escort the Phoenix in, clear any defensive fire from her path. The human fighters swept in around the Phoenix like protective birds. They fired at Vorthan gun positions and drew enemy fire away from the carrier. Several fighters were destroyed, but they kept the Phoenix safe during its final approach. Commander Amy Chun watched from the Nighthawk as the Phoenix built up speed. All weapons, target their defensive systems, she told her crew. Give Garcia a clear path. The stealth destroyer fired torpedo after torpedo at Vorthan defensive positions. Each explosion cleared another obstacle from the Phoenix's route. The Vorthans tried to stop the approaching ship, but human coordination was too good. On the planet below, High Counselor Zaranel and her people watched the battle through their sensors. They saw the human ship accelerating towards certain destruction to save their world. They are truly the children of the burning world, she whispered. They would rather die than let innocents suffer. The Phoenix struck the Vorthan dreadnought at incredible speed. The impact was visible from the other side of the system. The carrier ship's reinforced hull punched through the alien vessel's armor like a bullet through paper. Explosions rippled through both ships as the Phoenix's remaining fuel and ammunition cooked off inside the dreadnought. The planet killer weapon exploded in a chain reaction that tore through 3 decks of the Vorthan flagship. The main engines died as power conduits melted. The massive alien ship began to drift helplessly, smoke and fire pouring from its wounds. Captain Stone watched the explosion with tears in her eyes. Tony, you magnificent fool, she said softly, but the battle wasn't over yet. The other 2 Vorthan dreadnoughts were still functional and very angry. They turned their weapons toward the New York, determined to destroy the humans who had humiliated them. Colonel Kate Sullivan had been waiting for her chance. While the enemy focused on the ship-to-ship battle, she led her Marines in assault. Shuttles toward the 2nd Vorthan dreadnought. Remember your training, she told her troops. These aliens have never fought humans hand-to-hand. Use that advantage. The Marine shuttles slipped through the chaos of the battle and attached to the Vorthan ship's hull. Cutting torches burned through the alien metal as human soldiers prepared to board. The Vorthans had no idea what was coming. Sullivan was the first through the breach. She found herself in a corridor full of surprised Vorthan warriors. The aliens were larger than humans and had 4 arms, but they had never faced an enemy that fought with human ferocity. "For Earth and for the innocents!" Sullivan shouted, opening fire with her assault rifle. The Marines poured through the breach like an unstoppable tide. They used tactics that the rigid Vorthan military had never seen before. Human soldiers worked in small groups, covering each other and moving fast. They used grenades to clear rooms and flanked enemies who expected frontal attacks. The Vorthans had trained for boarding actions, but only against enemies who fought like they did. Humans ignored their formations and attacked from directions that made no tactical sense to alien minds. Within an hour, Sullivan's Marines had captured the ship's engine room and were fighting their way toward the bridge. War leader Vexmore received reports of the boarding action with disbelief. "How many humans are on my ship?" he demanded. "Only 50, War leader," his tactical officer replied. "But they fight like they are possessed by demons. Our soldiers cannot predict their movements." 50 humans are defeating a crew of 800 Vorthans? Vexmore roared. "Impossible!" But it was happening. The Marines moved through the ship like ghosts, striking hard and disappearing before the Vorthans could respond. They sabotaged critical systems and fought running battles through corridors designed for much larger beings. Back in space, the tide of battle had clearly turned. The remaining Vorthan ships found themselves outmaneuvered and outfought by enemies they couldn't understand. Human fighters swarmed around them like angry insects, always attacking from unexpected directions. Captain Stone coordinated the final assault. "All ships, concentrate fire on the remaining dreadnoughts. Let's finish this." The New York and Nighthawk, supported by the surviving fighters, pounded the enemy ships with everything they had. Vorthan shields failed under the constant barrage of kinetic weapons. Hull plates buckled and tore as human ingenuity overcame. Alien technology. The second dreadnought, weakened by Sullivan's Marines sabotaging its systems from within, finally succumbed to the external attack. Explosions cascaded through its hull as critical systems failed. The proud Vorthan warship broke apart in a series of brilliant flashes, seeing his fleet destroyed around him. War leader Vexmore made a final desperate decision. He would take his remaining ship and ram it into the planet below. If he couldn't conquer these humans, he would at least deny them their victory, but Commander Chun was ready for him. The Nighthawk, almost invisible among the debris of battle, positioned itself directly in the path of the last Vorthan ship. "Full power to forward shields," Chun ordered. "We're going to stop him the hard way." The two ships collided in a tremendous explosion that lit up the entire system. When the light faded, both vessels were gone, destroyed by the impact, but taking the last threat to the planet with them. The battle for Zephy's Prime was over. Against all odds, the humans had won. The space around Zephy's Prime fell silent except for the crackling of damaged ships and the soft hum of rescue beacons. Captain Rachel Stone stood on the bridge of the New York, looking at the debris field that had once been the mighty Vorthan fleet. Her ship was badly damaged, with burn marks across its hull and several weapon systems offline, but it was still flying. "Casualty report?" she asked quietly. Lieutenant Danny Miller checked his screens with sad eyes. "We lost the Phoenix. And all hands. The Nighthawk is gone too. 47 fighters didn't make it back. Total casualties are 312 good people." Stone felt the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. Each number represented someone who had left Earth to help strangers and would never go home. But their sacrifice had saved millions of Zephyrian lives. "Captain, I'm getting a message from the planet," reported Communications Officer Sarah Lewis. "It's High Counselor Zaranel." The main screen flickered to life, showing the tall, blue-skinned alien leader. Tears ran down her face, but she was smiling. "Captain Stone, on behalf of all Zephyrians, I thank you. Your people have done something we thought impossible. You defeated the Vorthans when no one else could." "We did what anyone should do," Stone replied. "We protected innocent people from bullies." "That is not how the galaxy works," Zaranel said softly. "Most species surrender to the Vorthans rather than fight. Some even join them to save themselves. You are the first to stand against them just because it was right. Over the next few hours, rescue ships from both fleets worked together to save survivors and recover the dead. Human and Zephyrian crews learned to work side by side, sharing tools and medical supplies. Language barriers disappeared as beings who had fought together began to understand each other. Dr. Lisa Hamilton took a shuttle down to the planet's surface. She wanted to see the world the humans had died to protect. The Zephyrian cities were unlike anything on Earth, with buildings that curved like living trees and streets that followed natural patterns instead of straight lines. "Your people are artists," she told Zaranel as they walked through the capital. "City, we were traders and farmers before the war," Zaranel explained. "We never learned to fight like humans do. Our weapons were for hunting animals, not for war against other intelligent beings." They passed through markets where Zephyrian families were returning to their homes. Children who had hidden in shelters during the bombing looked up at Lisa with wide, curious eyes. Many adults stopped to bow respectfully when they learned she was one of the humans who had saved their world. "They call you the brave ones from the burning world," Zaranel translated as more Zephyrians gathered around them. "They want to know if all humans are warriors," Lisa laughed. "No, most of us are farmers and teachers and shop owners, just like your people, but when someone needs help, we help. When someone threatens the innocent, we fight." News of the human victory spread through the galaxy faster than anyone expected. The Galactic Federation, a loose alliance of peaceful species, had heard rumors about the mysterious Deathworlders but never believed the stories were true. Now they had proof that the Vorthan Empire could be defeated. Admiral Peter Brooks arrived 3 days later with a larger fleet and supply ships. He met with Captain Stone in the temporary command center they had set up on Zephy's Prime. "The whole galaxy is talking about what happened here," he told her. "We're getting messages from dozens of species asking for help against the Vorthans." "Are we ready for that kind of responsibility?" Stone asked. She was tired from the battle and mourning her lost friends. "Ready or not, we're in it now," Brooks replied. "The Vorthan Emperor has declared humans to be an enemy of the Empire. He's mobilizing fleets from across their territory to attack Earth." Stone felt a chill of fear. "How long do we have?" "Intelligence estimates 6 months before they can gather enough ships for a full assault," Brooks answered. "But they won't?" "Wait, they'll send smaller fleets to test our defenses and attack our allies." High Counselor Zaranel entered the meeting room carrying an ornate crystal device. "Admiral Brooks, on behalf of the Galactic Federation, I formally invite humanity to join our alliance. We offer you our technology, our resources, and our friendship." Brooks took the crystal carefully. It felt warm in his hands and seemed to pulse with inner light. "What does membership mean?" "It means you are no longer alone," Zaranel said. 12 species have already pledged to help defend Earth. They remember what it was like before humans came, when the Vorthans seemed unstoppable. Colonel Kate Sullivan, who had survived the boarding action despite her wounds, spoke up from her medical chair. "What about the other species still under Vorthan control? Are we going to help them too?" "If they ask for help, yes," Admiral Brooks said firmly. "We didn't come this far to stop now." Dr. Hamilton began working with Zephyrian scientists to set up cultural exchange programs. Young humans would come to learn about alien technology and culture, while Zephyrian students would visit Earth to study human history and tactics. "Your species is very strange," one Zephyrian scientist told Lisa. "You have wars on your own planet, but you will die to protect strangers from other worlds." "Maybe that's exactly why we're good at it," Lisa replied. "We know what it's like to fight for survival. We know what it's like to lose people we care about. We never want others to suffer the way we have." Construction began immediately on Forward Operating Base Zephy's, humanity's first permanent military installation outside the solar system. The base would serve as a staging ground for operations against Vorthan forces and a symbol of human commitment to galactic freedom. Lieutenant Commander Steve Johnson, now promoted to commander after his heroic leadership in the fighter battle, took charge of training joint human-alien squadrons. Zephyrian pilots were eager to learn human tactics, while human pilots studied alien technology. "They're natural flyers," Steve reported to Admiral Brooks. "Give them a few months of training in human combat techniques, and they'll be as good as any Earth pilot." The Vorthan Empire reacted to their defeat with rage and disbelief. Emperor Vexthal ordered the execution of any commander who spoke of human tactical superiority. He began developing new weapons specifically designed to counter human fighting. "Methods? They think like animals," he told his war council. "They have no honor, no proper military structure. We will adapt our forces to fight chaos with order." But across the galaxy, oppressed species were beginning to hope for the first time in generations. The humans had proven that the Vorthans could be beaten. Resistance movements that had been hiding for years began to emerge, asking for human training and support. Captain Stone stood on the observation deck of the new base, looking out at the stars. Earth was invisible from here, but she could feel the weight of her homeworld's hopes and fears. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible, and there would be no going back. Admiral Brooks joined her at the window. "Any regrets about answering that distress call?" Stone thought about Captain Garcia and Commander Chun and all the others who had died in the battle. Then she thought about the Zephyrian children she had seen playing in the city below, alive because humans had chosen to help strangers. "No regrets," she said firmly. "This is who we are. This is what we do." Behind them, the lights of the base glowed warmly in the darkness of space. Human and Zephyrian technicians worked side by side, preparing for the wars to come. The galaxy had learned that Earth's children would fight for justice. No matter the cost, the age of human expansion into the stars had begun, and the universe would never be the same.